they connect them, bloom, oh, bloom, showing if they connect them.
Hey everybody, good afternoon from Amsterdam. Really excited to be back with the crew from the Bloom Show. This time as a correspondent. I was here back in July and we did an intro program. I got a full hour, so today I'm going to have to talk a little faster and skinny down to 10 minutes, but it's good to be here. The topic that we have is customer service. I think often when people hear customer service, there are traditional ideas that come to mind about being polite and being courteous and rushing to grab the phone and greeting somebody when they come into the store. And that's absolutely part of the mix, and you need to pay attention to that. But I want to come at it from a different angle today. So to emphasize my point, I've got some slides. So I can bring up some slides and tell you what we're doing. Those of you who were with us back in July, I did a program called The 7 Deadly Sins of the Floral Industry. And I got a lot of great feedback from that. I decided, therefore, to use more deadly sins as the basis here. So believe it or not, in my long career in the industry, I have accumulated over 50 sins in the floral industry. We're going to share them little by little. But today, what I did was I took our second workshop, the next 7 deadly sins of the floral industry, and I grabbed my 2 favorites. And we're going to talk about how making sure that you eliminate these in your shop by default help you to give better customer service, help your customers to have a better experience when they call, when they visit, when they engage your team. So let me see if I can turn the slide. Gentlemen, I don't have the ability to turn the slide, so if you want to maybe move it to the next slide for me. There we go. Now I've got the mojo. All right. For those of you who've never met me before, I've been in the flower industry for a long, long time, stretching back to the last century. And my claim to fame is simply, I'm the only person in the world who has visited over 7,000 flower shops, 5 continents, to work with flower shop staff, teaching best principles, how to give the customer the best experience when they call, when they visit, when they're in a good mood, when they're in the bad mood, when it's the holidays, when it's the dead of summer, and everything in between. And I'm really happy to have this platform to be able to share some of those ideas and some of this experience with you. On average, the stores who do use our process see a dramatic increase, 25%. Those are some big numbers. So think about what a 25 increase in sales would mean in your store and what you could do with that capital. Okay, as I said, I cherry-picked 2 more sins, if you will, and how they impact service. Stuffing arrangements. This is something that everybody can relate to. I've seen it at every flower shop that I visit, and it hurts the store in many, many, many ways, on a fiscal level and also on a service level. I'm going to break that down and explain to you, because I think in general the perception is it's innocent. Well, you know, I just wanted to look nice, or she's an important customer, or I knew that this was a special order, so I wanted to add a little bit more. So the intent is good, and I would even argue that maybe this sin or this mistake is innocent, but the ramifications are pretty intense. And if they go unchecked, it really does hurt your store. So let's give you some perspective. When you are stuffing arrangements or allowing your team to do it by default, it's a problem because you're allowing your staff to break the rules. I mean, your rules are, if you have a $100 order, it's filled to $100 according to your metrics, not adding a little something on top. So it's a rule being broken. Also, what you're really letting your staff do is throw your money out the front door. And that sounds dramatic, but I want to make you a little edgy and uneasy and think about this. Like, am I actually just sending free money out the front door? Here's where the customer service hook comes in. Let's say the customer orders a $100 arrangement and the designer is going to stuff the design. Even if he or she were to go $10, $15, $20 over, you are setting an unrealistic standard for the customer, because the next time he orders, the next time he comes in and he gets a true $100, he's going to be upset. So ironically, he's going to get what he paid for, but he's going to complain. And I don't think people look at it from that perspective, but that's really what you need to understand, that there's an inconsistency in the level of design that you're giving customers if you let stuffing arrangements become part of the culture at your store. And then obviously, if every designer is adding a few more stems of this and a few more stems of that, that's got to come from somewhere. Someone's got to pay for it. So it means that it's raising your bills, it's raising your costs. So I hope that gives you broad perspective on what seems to be innocent, but really does hurt your business and erode your profitability, and it impacts the customer service experience. So how do you tackle that? Nobody likes to be the manager. Nobody wants to be the curmudgeon and the ogre, but you've got to spot check arrangements. And I've been at plenty of stores working with designers with decades of experience who still will, slide. It happens. We all get a little bit lazy, or we all figure out what's a few extra stems here. But there should be a system of checks and balances where maybe you periodically spot check every 7th arrangement and hold your designers accountable. An easy thing to do is to go into the cooler, grab an arrangement. If it has a for sale tag on it that says $100, deconstruct it and break it out. And if it has a flower value that brings the retail price to 119, you've got a problem. Heck, if it brings it to 102, you have a problem. You need to stay within the parameters. And having said that, you also need to think about setting productivity standards, because how long should the design take? And that comes into play as well. What I've seen is sometimes if somebody's taking far too long to design arrange it, that's where, well, it needs a little extra this, it needs a little extra that, becomes part of the culture. So it's important that that you kind of lay down those guidelines for your team, make them aware, start tracking it, and you can reward good behavior when you see arrangement after arrangement that's spot on budget. That's helpful too. That's keeping your books in the black, so you can reward that kind of behavior. Let's continue. Here's my other favorite, and it has to do with technology. For reference, I began working in the flower industry back in 1993 in New York City. And it was a very big and prosperous flower shop, but we were on paper. So the first year we were on paper. So I know full well what that is like. We migrated onto a point of sale system for the floral industry. I'm not going to drop brands, but we did that about a year later. And within a week, we all looked at each other and we thought, oh my gosh, how do we live without this? Because there was no more constantly shaking our hands from writer's cramp, having to write the delivery tags and the card messages and the orders, and writing so hard because there was a carbon and we had to capture the credit card information. It's 2025. We are a quarter of the way into the next century, and I still encounter flower shops who don't want to use technology. And there are all kinds of excuses, but I can shoot holes in all of them. And the problem, to the point of today's Bloom Show correspondent theme, it impacts and negates the level of service that your customers are ultimately going to get when they call your store and then when they visit your store. So what do I mean by that? It's the 21st century. There's really no reason for you not to be using technology. It's accessible, it's affordable, it's friendlier and easier than ever before, and it just makes you more efficient. To the second block, this is really kind of the wake up and smell the coffee moment, is that people expect you to have technology. You walk into a dry cleaner and they're going to ask your phone number, and then there's your whole history, and they know who you are and what you're all about. So at this point, when somebody's placing an order, they expect that you're going to be able to reference the address where they've sent before, or their average sale, or have their credit card details. So that kind of puts them on edge. And obviously, it's a question of security. Taking an order on paper and writing down a credit card is it's not something you want to be doing in this day and age. It also increases your efficiency. I know that when I'm working in a busy flower shop at a holiday, I can take an order top to bottom, talking at this speed, not like I've had 37 Red Bulls, but talking at this speed, get the credit card process, everything done in under a minute and a half. I could never do that if I were having to manually write it all out. And the other thing is that point of sale system helps you to understand the customer. So you can see what his or her average sale is. And if he's ordering something special today, if his benchmark is 100, his special has to be 200. Countless ways that technology is going to help you to run your business. So if you're not there yet, please do it. And I can help you. I've got lots of connections and I can give you advice based on some variables. So if you're still on paper, make a commitment. Head into the last quarter getting ready to look at launching a point of sale system in 2026. I'll cut you a little bit of slack because we're heading into the holiday season, but January is a perfect time. New year, new perspective, new way of dealing with customers. And those of you who are on technology too, make sure that you're making it easy for your staff to use it. I've been at stores where there's just one terminal. So what happens is there's one person who gets to use it, but then everybody else is still scribbling on paper, and then they're going and manually entering them later. And that makes me want to pull my last 3 hairs out, because then you're doing double work. So if you're going to get the technology, make sure that it's set up in a manner that everybody in your store can use it. So, as I said, we've collected lots of sins, and I'm really excited because, as it turns out, next week we are doing another webinar. So we've done the 7 deadly sins of the floral industry. We've done the next 7 deadly sins of the floral industry. And next week, brand new, 7 more deadly sins of the floral industry. It happens from 4 to 4:30 Eastern. It's going to be live, but we record it as well. You and your team will learn a lot. You'll get handouts. You'll get inspiration. You'll have awareness of how you can address these issues in your store and change them. The ticket is $15, but if you use the coupon code that you see noted here, Bloom, you can save $5. It should be 7. You can save $5. You can go to our website, theprofitableflorist.com, and find more information there. So I hope I have created some awareness in these the short 10 minutes together. We hope to see you next week, and remember to like us, subscribe, and we'll see you next time. So thanks.
The blue, showing if they connect them blue.